Okay. Oh, thank you. These lights are so bright, so I cannot really see all of you, which might be a good thing because I'm a little bit nervous up here, but I'm also very excited to be here. Say again, Kristen? Oh, great. Thank you. Thank you. So my name is Kaylee Galatano. I am the Director of Equity and Excellence for the wonderful Somerville Public School District. Woohoo! Yay! And I'm honored and flattered to be here as your host and your Master of Ceremonies this evening. I want to welcome you all to the third annual Women's History Month event. This is an important citywide event here in Somerville, and it's the third year running that we've made it happen. This is a really special night, and I want to specifically mention some names, so specifically that they are written down for me, so I will not forget. Some of the partners who continue to impress and make this possible, including Mayor Ballantyne and her staff, woohoo! Yeah, holla! The Somerville Commission for Women, yeah, woo! The Department of Racial and Social Justice, and our hosts, Somernova. I would also like to give a special nod to Counselor at Large, Kristen Strezzo, Ward 2 Committee Member, Ilana Krepchin, former City Councilor, Beatrice Gomez. A special shout out to Senator Pat Jalen. And I'd like to thank the planning team, Jenny St. Cyrin and Kristen Phelan, yay! From Somernova, Latoya Salters and Leo Galindo from RSJ. And lastly, the tremendous contribution from the members of the Somerville Commission for Women, Mallory Carroll, CC Monroe, and SCW co-chairs Stephanie Galitsky and Kim Sheridan. I also want to acknowledge and give a shout out to Cuisine Chez Vous, who is passing around some delicious victuals, so please try those out. As we celebrate Women's History Month, we should also recognize that this month marks the 36th anniversary of the founding of the Somerville Commission for Women, which was started by a city council ordinance in 1988. Let's give it up for the work of the commission. And seeing that it was 1988 makes me feel really old. That's when I got my driver's license, so yeah, 88. Today we gather to celebrate the triumphs, struggles, and contributions of women throughout our history. In just this past year, the Commission has hosted important citywide events such as the October Candlelight Vigil for Domestic Violence, the Encouraging Kids Independence event, the Community Clothesline Project, and women's health workshops. As we reflect on the progress that has been made in advancing gender equality and recognize the achievements of women in various fields, it's important to acknowledge that there is still work to be done. Our event is a platform to amplify the voices of women, honor their resilience, inspire future generations to continue to fight for equality. Tonight is all about us. It is about getting to know one another, to get to know, build community, celebrate each other, and also keep in mind that this is Women's History Month, but women should be celebrated, highlighted, and acknowledged throughout all the days of all the months of the year. So, yay! So thank you all for joining us in this important celebration. I'm delighted to introduce our esteemed mayor, Katiana Ballantyne, who has been a dedicated public servant and advocate for our Somerville community. Throughout Mayor Ballantyne's tenure, she has worked tirelessly to improve the lives of our residents and promote equality and inclusivity. Please join me in welcoming Katiana Ballantyne as she shares some words of welcome. I'll move my stuff out of your way. It's weird if we both stand up here, right? Like, okay.
Good evening, everyone. It's so nice. Bonjour. Yeah. Thank you, Kaylee. Appreciate it, and thank you to everyone for coming to attend our Women's History Month celebration. It's fantastic to be here with all of you today to recognize the remarkable contribution of women throughout history and also within our beloved city. I want to extend my thanks to Kaylee for serving as our excellent MC, Latoya Salters, and her colleagues from our Racial and Social Justice Department. Yes. For organizing and hosting this event, and of course the Somernova team for hosting us here. Kristen Phelan and your team, thank you. And as was mentioned earlier, but I'd also like to thank the Somerville Commission for Women for bringing us here today and for the ability to reflect on our accomplishments and rally more. So throughout its history, Somerville has been a home to forward-thinking and driven and creative women. In 1873, when women were lucky to receive an education, Barbara Galpin started working as a typesetter at the Somerville Journal and went on to become the journal's first female editor. In 1917, when women were discouraged to even think about having careers, Marguerite Missy Lahan graduated from Somerville High School and became President Franklin Roosevelt's private secretary. In 1920, when women were finally granted the right to vote, Ruth Valletta Jones, who had already made history as the first African-American woman to graduate from Somerville High School, was among the first women to register to vote. Dorothy Kelly Gay became the first female mayor of Somerville, someone I can directly thank for forging the trail that brings me here today with all of you. I am mindful of the fact that I am the second woman in 182 years to have the honor to lead this country. I was living in Somerville when Dorothy became mayor, and the things that I remember, and I was actually volunteering on many things, but was on the board of directors of Somerville Community Corporation. And what I remember distinctly was when she came into office, the amount of effort and support she put behind affordable housing, which is still obviously an issue today. And she started our great system of 311. So she brought that to the city. I have a few more people who are around us today that I would like to mention. I would say Senator Jalen. She was state rep when I first met her. And what the many, many accomplishments you have, I think of the education system. So she was a leader in trying to get the Somerville public schools to think about differentiated instruction. And that model started at the Healy School and went on for nearly 3 decades before it became a standard practice in modern day teaching universities on how to teach. I also wanted to mention Luann David. She was a resident that lived in Clarendon Hill Towers. The Towers has 501 affordable units. And she organized the tenants to, when it was going to lose it's considered expiring use, that the developer could then turn that into market rate housing She organized the 1,200 residents that live in that area to petition to turn it into a tenants-owned community so it stays affordable into perpetuity. I also want to mention Letitia Scott, Jess Turner, Maggie Joseph, who are Clarendon Residents United, who are women who live in, more affectionately known, the North Street Public Housing, who help organize to make sure as that development turns into a new mixed-use area with 50% increasing to 50% affordable for, well, going from 200 units to 600 units, but 50% of them will be affordable. They were the leaders in their community. They did an awesome job. And, you know, I'd like to identify my daughters. I'm the fortunate person to be the mother of 2 daughters. They're Somervillians, and they have been my teachers. And you are all teachers. Nomi Davis, you started SFLC. Regina, you are an unsung hero. Beatriz Gomez, hero that the Celtics all celebrated. Beatriz Gomez Mucad, you started Padres Latinos. Tori Antonino with Green and Open Somerville. There are so many women that I want to call out. You're all here. You've all added to the history and the richness that is Somerville, and thank you, and certainly want to celebrate you. In spite of the plenty of people telling, you know, women along the way, especially the women that I mentioned around 1873 and 1917 and 1920, no, the Somerville women persisted. Their resilience and determination now serves as a guiding force as we look to tackle the roadblocks that still stop women from being fully equal in society today. One area that I'm focusing on is the wage gap. Women, and especially women of color, often earn less than their male counterparts. Too often, this is just shrugged off as an existing status quo, but not on my watch. I'm proud to say that I've ordered the first comprehensive wage study of Somerville's workforce so we can root out any existing pay disparities between our employees and fix them. Access to affordable and quality childcare remains another obstacle in the way of women's progress, especially in Massachusetts, one of the highest paying states in the country for childcare. This high cost is directly correlated with women dropping out of the workforce, and it's fixable. In one of my first acts as mayor, I committed $7 million into the local child care programs. I will continue to work with our partners at the state and the federal levels to create sustainable solutions that help women and families. It's truly amazing to look back and see the strides women have made to gain a seat at the table. But that seat is still not truly equal. I want to end here with a call to all of us. Never see a woman that came before us as figures rooted in the past, but instead see them as tangible role models who can help us meet our current challenges with some determination, the same determination to never say, well, that's good enough. Thank you again all for your partnership on this issue, and I'd like to turn it back to Kaylee. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mayor Ballantyne. It is now my pleasure to introduce another tireless organizer and champion of our community, and someone who I've recently had wonderful conversations with, and I know we will have many more, City Councilor Strezzo. Please welcome me.
You're welcome. Thank you. I was in the back reserving my teeny tiny little burger. Because I know if I let it pass, it'd be gone. Thank you, and I want to thank you all for coming tonight. As I mentioned, I'm in a lot of rooms all over the city, and I see people in this bucket of people and this bucket of people, but rarely have I seen them together all in one room. This is true community, and almost like a reunion. And I want to commend Jenny for this, and Kristen, and thank you for having me here. And thank you, Somernova and the Department of Racial and Social Justice for planning this event to commemorate Women's History Month. Thank you for all who came tonight and who work to better the lives of women and all who identify as a woman. A 2023 international study by Women of Influence coined the term tall poppy syndrome, which occurs when people are attacked, resented, disliked, criticized, or cut down because of their achievements or their success. In this study, 87% of female respondents experienced this phenomenon at work. Overall, the study revealed that women who are successful are being bullied and belittled, challenged on their successes, and made to feel as though it's not their place to take up so much space. In 2024, we need to shut that down. It needs to stop, ladies. It needs to stop. Because it's not just men doing it. Everyone has an obligation to stop this behavior internationally and locally. Because without the contributions of women, the world would literally stop existing. As women, we must find reasons to work together, not reasons we cannot. Because the patriarchy is relying on us to find reasons we can't work together with other women. It is the centuries-old strategy of divide and conquer. Do not let the patriarchy win. Because it's 2024, and I have never felt in all my life like I have less to gain for being a woman after all I've seen going on at DC, locally, finding reasons not to work together as women. Enough, ladies, enough. Additionally, we need to create and expand spaces that normalize being a woman. For me, I see this as my life's work, as part of my calling to be of service. It's why I love my role as a city councilor and what drives my work. And I approach this work from my heart, from my lived experiences, and through simple solutions. For instance, reproductive justice is paramount to this. In 2021, as a city councilor, I wrote the first ordinance in the state of Massachusetts banning medically deceptive language within our city used by anti-abortion centers that mimic abortion clinics and lure people and pregnant people in these fake anti-abortion clinics. They're known as CPCs, or crisis pregnancy centers. They are morally bankrupt, and they are anti-abortion centers specifically targeting women of color or minors or poor women and pregnant people. Something I was continuously discouraged from doing municipally, including being discouraged by a few women in the reproductive rights movement. But I didn't listen, because we have to go there and see what's possible. And do you know what happened? Afterwards, months later, the Attorney General put forward a consumer alert on anti-abortion fake clinics. Then Mass Health did. Then Elizabeth Warren put forward the SAD bill. Then the Attorney General became the governor and brought her reproductive rights values with her, and the new Attorney General established a whole new department to protect reproductive health accessibility. Sometimes good things happen. Thank you. Because we have to push through the norms and the barriers to build the world we want. And we have to normalize bleeding. We have to demand bathrooms provide free menstrual products and budget for them, just like it's budgeted for hand towels. Last year, I put forward a municipal budget request for free menstrual products in all city-owned bathrooms. Thank you, Madam Mayor, for accepting that. Thank you for approving that, and I'm looking forward to that rollout. Thank you. But beyond that, though, if we talk about being inclusive, we must make the city process accessible and accommodating for women as well. Normalizing breastfeeding. And I requested a mini fridge in the council chambers in case anyone needed to store breast milk. But that's a Band-Aid, because paid family leave should be standard in every workplace, just like it is in every other country in the industrialized world. In the world. And some more council work. I'm proud to report that 3 weeks ago, my budget request for a small children's play area within the city council chambers was allocated. Thank you. But there were some councilors that wanted to poke holes through that. But my vision in that space in the city council chambers with children's books, crayons, and toys are available so parents can bring their kids to city meetings. City Hall belongs to everyone. And it's my own experiences as a parent that inspired this an initiative, and seeing the way that you navigate around our city, what you have, what you need. It's a reminder of why we need more women in positions of power. Where's page 5? Oh, there it is. Sometimes men try to pit us against each other as women. Sometimes they do so in an attempt to capitalize on a division, and that's not okay. See through it, ladies. Rise above it. Look at what happened in Alabama this year with IVF. Or in Texas, where it's legal to bounty hunt a woman for having an abortion and imprison her. It is terrifying. In a world still run by men, we must have guardrails against this tyranny and propensity to control women's bodies. It's none of their business. And in response, this year in City Council, I resubmitted my budget request for an emergency contraception vending machine to be placed within a city building. Thank you. It's happening in other parts of Massachusetts, and it can happen here too. All I want to remind you that we're sisters, and we must not drink the poison of internalized misogyny that focuses on turning us against each other. Remember, the patriarchy is relying on us turning on each other. Going forward, let's try the following. Go out of your way to support the work of other women. Prioritize women from diverse backgrounds in all projects. Even if it makes you uncomfortable, go there. And prioritize working alongside your sisters over men. Try it out, see what happens. Just try it. Shut it down when men talk badly about women. Or when women talk bad about other women. From a place of internalized misogyny. Shut it down. Or when you hear sexist things, or when you see it on the internet, shut it down. It's our job. It's other people's jobs too. But we have a role too. We too must check ourselves. Let's reflect on our actions. Ensure we're not perpetuating sexist beliefs or internalized misogyny. Don't support the divide and conquer. Shut it down when they try to divide us. They're relying on that. Ladies, I believe in each of you. Let's lift each other up. So thank you for being here today, and happy Women's History Month and happy Trans Day of Visibility.
That was awesome. Thank you very much. Yes. I feel inspired. Okay. Next, I would like you to join me in welcoming LaToya Salters, who serves as the Department of Racial and Social Justice Commission's coordinator and helps support the important work of the Somerville Human Rights Commission and the Somerville Commission for Women. This is a super fun fact. So first of all, I just met LaToya in person tonight, and she's going to be my new friend, which I'm happy about. And this is amazing. So LaToya is also a 3-time national champion member of the Boston Renegades, the Women's Football Alliance. And your shoes are fire.
Thank you, Kaylee, for that introduction. I am so empowered and inspired by every woman that's here tonight. Your attendance here tonight defeats the stereotype that women are just caretakers and here to bear children. No, we are more than that. Your attendance shows that we are CEOs, we are millionaires, entrepreneurs, and we are women tackle football players. Yes, I said that, women tackle football players. I have the honor to introduce our keynote speaker for this evening. She is a 6-time national champion with the Boston Renegades football team. She is a USA Olympic champion with the USA tackle women football team and flag football team. And I could talk about her athletic accolades, but I also would like to mention that she's a serial entrepreneur who created a football card game called Blitz Champs that has been licensed by the NFL and has been used as an educational mathematical tool in the school district across the states. It is my honor to bring up our keynote speaker, my mentor and my teammate, Ms. Adrienne Smith.
Oh my goodness, LaToya, thank you so much for such a phenomenal introduction. I'm excited to be here. I thought this was going to be, okay, Women's History Month. I didn't know this was a rally. Like, I'm ready to go. Clearly I'm already off script. Let me jump back into that. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Mayor Ballantyne, distinguished guests, thank you so much for having me. As LaToya said, my name is Adrienne Smith, and I am just extra excited to be here tonight. The city of Somerville, it has a special place in my heart because this is a location that drastically altered the trajectory of my life and set me on a history, or should I say, a herstory making path. That is in fact what I want to talk to you about today. I have 3 lessons that I want to share with you about how to make herstory. Legend has it that at the age of 3, a certain little girl was enthralled with football. The parents of that little girl said that every Sunday she would drag her life-size teddy bear, Ginger, because of course she named him Ginger. She would drag Ginger in front of the television and would tackle him nonstop during NFL games. The little girl's parents were concerned at first, but week after week, as they watched the joy that went across the little girl's face as she was watching football, as she was tackling Ginger, they said, well, you know, maybe it's not so bad. They acquiesced and they gave her free rein to indulge in the sport. So much so that when the little girl turned 7, her father bought her a football for Christmas and taught her how to throw a perfect spiral. From that point on, the little girl never looked back, and she knew in her heart of hearts that football was indeed her sport. Lesson number 1, everyone, for how to make herstory. Surround yourself with people who support you and encourage you, no matter how quirky or offbeat your dreams may be. Now, this legendary little girl, she wasn't always sugar and spice and everything nice. Oh no, in fact, she was an absolute terror when it came to playing games. The absolute worst sore loser in the history of womankind. Things got so out of hand for this legendary little girl that when she had a meltdown after losing to her father yet again while playing Candyland, she was immediately banned from playing the game for an entire week, which when you're in kindergarten feels like at least 10 years. Am I right? Little did the legendary little girl or her parents know that one day the little girl would go on not only to dominate in Candyland, but to also invent her very own family-friendly kids game for which she would eventually be able to secure an NFL licensing agreement. Bravo! Lesson number 2 for how to make herstory: do not be deterred by difficulties you may face in any endeavor, whether it's an industry or job. With patience, with maturity, and with practice, the very thing that caused you distress can be the arena in which you rule. After a few years, the legendary little girl grew up to be an ambitious woman who had continued her love for football, achieving extraordinary heights when in 2010 she was selected as one of 45 women to represent the United States in the first ever Women's World Football Championships, which were held in Stockholm, Sweden. The legendary little girl turned ambitious woman became the first woman in history to score a touchdown in international women's tackle football competition on a magnanimous 52-yard pass reception. This feat in and of itself was truly noteworthy, but it was made even more special because although the ambitious woman's mother had already passed, her father, the one who taught her how to throw that perfect spiral, was in the stadium stands to witness that touchdown and celebrate her hard-earned success. The ambitious woman's inclusion on the U.S. women's national tackle football team opened her eyes to the tremendous potential and opportunities that football could provide for women and girls around the world. When she returned to New York City, she was eager to share her newfound knowledge with her team. Sadly, not everyone was excited about the ambitious woman's international success, nor did they want to hear, let alone execute, some of the new ideas she had for improving the team's operations and financial challenges. The ambitious woman was disappointed and disheartened until one of her friends mentioned that the football team in Boston was quite spectacular. That they approached women's football with a sincerity and a level of professionalism that was unmatched. This lit a fire in the ambitious woman's heart. She knew that Boston, in particular, Somerville, was where she needed to go to further realize her dream of becoming the best wide receiver in football. So she did. In 2011, the ambitious woman began commuting from New York City to Somerville, 1, sometimes 3 times per week, to practice and play for the Boston women's football team. The decision was difficult and required incredible commitment, but the results have been nothing but extraordinary. The third and final reason that we can learn how to make herstory is that sometimes in the journey towards greatness, you outgrow people who were your support system. Not everyone can stand the rays of your light when you truly begin to shine. When the ambitious woman stepped into the football field in Somerville, it was the catalyst that catapulted her football career to the next level. Not only did she win multiple championship rings, but she also secured national sponsors and became the all-time receiving yards record holder for women's football. I want you to remember this. Never be afraid to leave where you are only tolerated, to go where you can be celebrated. In conclusion, women don't make history for history's sake. Women make history by pursuing their passions, by being willing to take risks, and by maintaining a dogged commitment to stick-to-itiveness, regardless of whatever obstacles life or people may throw your way. I encourage every woman here to do a little self-reflection to ensure that they haven't curtailed or subdued any dreams that they may have had as little girls or even now as grown women. The future is not set in stone. And I believe that desire is in fact ability seeking expression. So if there's a desire in your heart to achieve something, to create, to do something, anything, I ask you to pursue it until it manifests. The world needs the unique brand of ingenuity that women offer. So ladies, in short, dream and do your dream. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Adrienne. I feel motivated, inspired, and I also feel like a little, like, I'm like, wow, like she came from New York to Somerville to play in a football game. I'm like really psyched if I just, walk to my car. I'm like, so I feel inspired emotionally and physically. Before I introduce our final speaker, I would ask that any current or former members of the Somerville Commission for Women please raise your hands so that you can be recognized. Thank you so much. Thank you for all the work that you do, that you have done and continue to do for our community. I would like you all to join me in welcoming Stephanie Galetsky, the co-chair of the Somerville Women Commission for Women. Through her dedication and leadership, Stephanie has been instrumental in driving positive change in our community and championing the rights of women. We are honored to have her here today to share her wisdom with us. Everyone, please welcome Stephanie.
So I'm going to echo what everybody else said, and it's just really wonderful to be here with all of you tonight, and I am so grateful for this space and for your presence, so thank you. I'm going to talk about women as leaders, and I'm going to start with an uncomfortable fact, because I majored in history, and that is that there have been many women leaders in history who were terrible. And I should say, I define terrible to mean that they cause the suffering or death of a whole lot of innocent people. I think that's terrible, and I think it's a failure of leadership. Humanity has done this less since the massive bloodbaths of the 20th century, but it still happens far too often, and it's happening right now. I do think that women can make good leaders. We bring an important perspective to leadership. We live in a world where we are constantly reminded that men are more privileged than we are in terms of access to power and justice. White women make 83 cents for every male dollar, while Hispanic women make 65 cents. Domestic violence deaths, which the Women's Commission memorializes every year in October, skew hugely towards women killed by male partners. Women's underprivilege emerges in how our bodies are scrutinized and yet vilified. Menstruation is shameful, and the body changes that occur during and post-pregnancy are sanitized to the point of being unrealistic. For me as a mother, I was deeply humbled by how helpless I was after the birth of my first child. The struggles nursing were unlike anything I'd ever experienced, and I've never lost so much sleep. Of course, my husband helped, but those 2 a.m. wake-ups when the baby won't nurse are some of the darkest moments I've experienced. But to have lived through those dark moments gives me so much empathy for other people living their dark moments. Thousands died in Haiti last year as their government faltered. 4 million now face acute food insecurity there. We all witnessed the unrelenting deaths of mothers and children in Gaza for almost 6 months, funded by our tax dollars, and paired with an unprecedented rise in level 5 catastrophic hunger. In Sudan, Save the Children estimates that nearly 233,000 children, pregnant women, and new mothers could starve to death in the coming months without additional resources. There is so much need for empathy in this world. I think that without my dark moments, I could be less able to understand what that means to be a mother listening to her child cry in hunger. So I believe that it is from our empathy that women can draw our power. I know that there are many women who have lived experiences far more difficult than my own, and I think that many of them would make better leaders than I ever would. I have a colleague in Turkmenistan who reached out to me to wish me Happy Women's Day, and I asked her what I should say in this speech. She said that successful women try to help each other and guide each other in the right direction. She's a world away, and yet she is also thinking about the service that we give each other. And yet we often don't. In writing this speech, I reflected on arbitrary cultural divisions like racism that make us feel comfortable deeming some people better suited to suffering. These divisions encourage us to dilute, distort, or minimize our empathy, and they all have the effect of diminishing our service to others. I have come to recognize some of the ways that I've internalized systems of oppression that cause me to disconnect myself from others' pain. This makes it easy to do nothing instead of galvanizing us to work for a better world. So where am I going with this? I guess this is all to say, I'm not sure sometimes whether there is a stronger divide between women and men than there is between more arbitrary distinctions like race, religion, and ethnicity. White women make 17 cents less than men, but Hispanic women make 18 cents less than white women. But what I do know is that every woman in this room has had opportunities to cultivate empathy. And I can only guess that the men who have chosen to join us also know something about that too. I think this empathy is a gift. We need to foster it and wield it. Do not let it be diluted by all the divisions that arise between us. Mayor Ballantyne, I can't see you, it's too bright, but I'm so proud of Somerville's new pilot for guaranteed basic income. This is a kindness. Yeah, it's so great. And it's a service that I want to see in the world for our neighbors who need it. So my message then is this. To women given positions to lead, whether you achieve greatness or it is thrust upon you, keep in your heart what the world has taught you in your dark moments and use it to lift others up. Let our kindness be our legacy as women. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephanie. So we're coming to the end of our third annual Women's History Month event. And I just wanted to thank you all for allowing me to be a part of this with you. I am so proud. I was saying to Alana earlier this evening how much I love working in Somerville, how much I love this community. And this night has just reinforced that. So thank you all. Please let's reflect on the great things that we've heard tonight. We are women, we are sisters, right? We are strong in our sisterhood. I need to do more than walk to my car, even though I don't know if I'll ever be able to throw a 52-yard spiral, but I'm gonna work on it. And just really celebrating one another, the oneness of humanity for all of who we are, right? If we look at humanity like the wings of a dove, women are one wing, men are the other. In order for that dove to fly straight and true, those wings need to work together. So thank you very much. Have a great night. Eat some food. Have some fun.